and welcome to the Laney College video series on the Introduction to Digital Photography. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about our Nikon 3300, and we're going to talk very specifically about the mode dial. The mode dial is located on the top of your camera, and as you are hanging your camera from the camera strap around your neck, you just look down and you will see a knurled knob that spins clockwise and counterclockwise with a lot of information on it. And you spin this dial, this mode dial, and you line it up with this little index mark to indicate the mode that you want to use. There are a lot of different kinds of information on that dial, but we're just going to focus on a couple. Here's a little bit clearer picture of that mode dial. We are only going to concern ourselves with these four, and today really with just three of them. The P stands for Programmed Auto, the S stands for Shutter Priority Auto, and the A stands for Aperture Priority Auto. Now these all give us specific kinds of controls, but the actual exposure is determined by the camera, which is why they're referred to as auto settings. The fourth one is manual. There's nothing automatic about that at all, and that's something that we'll use a little bit later in our course. The program mode, mode P, essentially the camera does everything for you. You spin your dial, you set it on P, and the camera will decide the shutter speed and the aperture for you. This is a very useful mode for general kind of stuff. You're walking around with you're with your friends, you're just snapping pictures. The camera makes all the decisions. In our class, though, we're trying to learn a little bit more about photography, and we're going to concentrate on controlling specific features. You look here, mode S, Shutter Priority Auto. It is an auto setting. However, through this mode, we can control the shutter speeds. We used this mode when we were doing the rolling ball experiments in class. We used a slow shutter speed to see what that would look like. We used a fast shutter speed to see what that would look like. The shutter speeds are adjustable through the command dial. If you're holding the camera in front of you and you raise your right thumb, at the top right-hand corner there's a dial that protrudes out of the camera. It is knurled, and you can move that with your thumb left and right. It changes to shutter speeds, and those shutter speeds show in your LCD in the back. Now here we have, you see it's 1/125th. Click it in one direction, it'll change to a 60th. Click it in another direction, it'll change it to 1/250th of a second. You have lots and lots of choices. The auto features within the camera, however, will make the decision about the f-stop that you want to use. And the consequent depth of field is you're going to get what you're going to get, whatever the camera decides. And if that's okay and shutter priority is what you want to use, well, there you go. You use shutter priority. Mode A, spinning the dial to mode A, we have aperture priority. Through this function, we control our f-stops. We used this on the Peace Plaza when we shot our portraits. We shot our portraits at f4 or f5.6, and we got a shallow depth of field, and the background went out of focus. That was cool. Or we shot it at f16 or f22, and the background was more in focus, and most of everything was in focus. Those are creative decisions that we want to make in certain situations. We would adjust the apertures by moving the command dial. That, just like we did in the shutter priority, we'll move the command dial, but this time the aperture changes based upon which way we change the command dial. We decide we want a 5.6. We click it in one direction. We decide we want it an f4. We click it in another direction, it's an f8, or if it's an f11. The automatic features within the camera will then decide what the appropriate shutter speed will be based upon whatever exposure it decides is most important. The M is manual. It's exactly what it says. There are no automatic features about this at all. We control the shutter speed by moving the command dial. We hold down the plus minus button, right, we click that once, and we spin the command dial, and we can now change the apertures. But then we've got to figure out what the best exposure is. There are no automated features there. But by the time we're done with class, you guys will know how to use that, and I look forward to that. All right? Thank you for your kind attention.